All right. Today's video is about the 10 most common causes of back pain. And I had a question recently about a stretch that we do for back pain, and there was a question about is it effective for back pain or it's not effective for back pain. And the thing about back pain is it's not one thing. The back pain, we tend to think, oh, my back hurts. Well, there's different reasons you have back pain. And back pain really is the result of 3 joints. We'll talk about all the causes, but spine has 24 vertebrae, but in the end, each segment has 3 joints. There's the joint where the vertebrae come together with the disc. That's considered a joint. It's a weight-bearing structure. It's designed to bear a lot of weight. That's why the disc is sort of built the way it is, like a jelly donut. But there's also 2 little joints in the back called facet joints. And it's this combination of joints that leads to all our back trouble. There's more money spent on these 3 joints than there is all of treatment for cancer. It's $100 billion to treat these 3 joints. And most of the treatments are not very effective. Thus the cost. The annual cost to do a surgery after the first surgery didn't work for your spine is $20 billion. So there's a lot of money spent on these 3 joints. So we're going to talk about what causes the pain. Because when you understand the cause, you're more likely to eliminate your problem, because each cause has a unique way of being treated. You cannot treat them all the same. And I've said this in every video I've made, that this is good for some people and not good for others, because it also depends on what your problem is. What's the cause of your back pain? And sometimes one cause can be treated 3 different ways. And if you treat it the wrong way, it doesn't get better. That's the key to what we do. We solve the problem because we have the ability to eliminate the cause. Typical spine, 24 vertebrae. Between the head and the hips, there's 24 bones, and in between each bone there's a disc. Inside the spine is the spinal cord. There are little nerves that exit off of each foramen between the vertebrae, and that's very often the #1 cause of back pain. Pinching of that nerve as it exits through the foramen. Nerves in the neck go into the arms, nerves in the low back go down the legs. When that nerve gets pinched, very often you have pain in the low back. Sometimes you get it down the leg, but this is about back pain. But it's rare to have sciatica without having a back problem. Okay, that nerve gets pinched as it exits through the foramen. That's #1. That's one of the causes, the pinching of the nerve. So the question is, what pinches the nerve? Very often it's the disc. We call it mechanical inflammation. So you will develop an inflammatory process in the disc as the disc breaks down. The disc is like a jelly donut in the sense that the outside of the disc there's a thick material. Inside the disc there's a jelly-like substance. That jelly is designed to move. As it moves, very often what happens is you'll overload part of the disc. The cartilage is a very thick, strong structure, but under progressive load and excessive motion, it'll start to tear. As it tears, that creates an inflammatory process, mechanical inflammation. Your spine breaks down and develops mechanical inflammation. The first phase, as that nucleus starts to push out, you develop what's called a bulging disc. So cause #2 of back pain is what we call the bulging disc. Now these are not in any specific order. This is the order that I created it. The third reason is what we call a herniated disc, where you get a larger tear through the annulus. As the annulus tears more, that's an inflammatory process, but the nucleus pushes out. And as it pushes out, it'll pinch that nerve. We talked about the pinched nerve, but this disc, you can have a herniated disc and not have a pinched nerve, but the inflammatory process as a result of that disc and the herniation pushing through there causes a great deal of pain. Another reason is what we call the degenerated disc. When the disc over time breaks down under this load, the vertebrae physically get closer together. So what happens is the vertebrae get closer together, the disc breaks down, you develop an inflammatory process in the disc. A degenerated disc can develop a lot of inflammation. It's also the result of what we call oxidative stress. Oxidation to the tissues inside the disc perpetuate this breakdown where the vertebrae get close together. Should look like this, thicker, but what happens is it gets closer together, it gets thinner. And as that happens, you start to develop an overload to the facet joint, the two little joints in the back. They're not designed to bear weight, but as that disc breaks down, they start to bear weight. And the facet joint breaks down. That's called degenerative arthritis. It's degenerating under the load. So you'll develop arthritis in the facet joints. You'll develop bone spurs as a result of that. You'll develop an inflammatory process inside the spinal canal as a result of that. And that space inside the spinal canal will physically get smaller. That's called stenosis. Stenosis is also an inflammatory process. The whole thing is a process of breakdown. It's called the degenerative cascade. It cascades, continues. If you don't stop it, you increase the inflammation and you increase the oxidative stress, and it continues to break down over time. And then a more advanced reason is what we call spondylolisthesis. It's where the vertebrae don't line up anymore. They start to shift. Sometimes you get a breaking of the bone. Under all that load, the bone breaks a little bit and starts to shift. It's spondylolisthesis. The vertebrae don't line up. That's reason number 7. Number 8, which is more rare, spondylolisthesis tends to be rare. Does happen, maybe 50% of the time our patients, we see them with the spondylo. Another one is what we call Modak end plate changes. What happens is the end plate between the vertebrae, so there's an end plate here where the blood flows across into the disc. That end plate will get inflamed. You'll develop inflammation. So the chronic back pain, the bulging disc, the herniated disc, the degenerated disc, the spondylolisthesis, the stenosis, all the things that break down are inflammatory process. Inflammation causes pain. Inflammation causes pain. You develop end plate changes where you get an inflammatory process. You can see it. It's this white area right here. And technically, this is my MRI. I've had this problem. So this is a degenerated disc. It's a herniated disc. It's a Modak end plate change. I had stenosis. I had sciatica. I have no pain. Our process eliminates these problems. So that's number 8. Number 9 is a strain. You can strain your muscles and you can strain the ligaments. That tends to be the beginning of the problem. Okay, they can be very painful, but they're not always that complex. It's the inflammatory process as a result of stretching too much. Stretching too much. Sports injuries, car accidents, whiplash, things like that tend to cause strains. Now you can strain a joint, you can strain a muscle, you can strain a ligament, but we put them all into one category as a strain. The last one, which tends to be the most severe of all of them, is what's called central sensitization, where you develop a supersensitivity in the nervous system as a result of inflammation. So the key to all this is managing the inflammation and restoring the mechanics back to normal. When you have an overload of the disc and abnormal biomechanics, you develop a lot of inflammation. We talked about that. Inflammation in the disc, inflammation in the facet joints, inflammation in and around those nerves. When you have inflammation in and around the nerves, what happens is the nerve becomes hypersensitive. When the nucleus migrates to the outside, it's like battery. Intense inflammatory reaction. And the longer you have the inflammatory reaction to the nerve, inside the nervous system, you will develop changes. So you'll develop changes inside your spinal cord. There's an inflammatory process that takes place inside the spinal cord. And you develop hypersensitivity. Simple things cause you a great deal of pain. I had it. There's a way out. Eliminate the mechanical inflammation and the oxidative stress, and you get better. And you can live your life with stability in your spine forever without any pain if you do the right thing. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the sequence, we can solve it. Beginning phase or the most advanced, the central sensitization, we can solve that. We have the ability to solve problems in the discs. We have the ability to solve problems in ways nobody else can. We've developed this process over 25 years. We developed it as a result of something that happened to me. This is my MRI. Whoops, too fast. No, next one. This is my MRI. I had the problem. I went on a quest to find the solution. It took me 3 years to figure it out. Although technically I'd tried everything for the first 8 years and nothing happened. Chiropractic, physical therapy, all the medicines didn't work. I found a way out. And in the end phase, I broke my leg. And after I broke my leg, I found a way out. I didn't break my leg trying to solve it. I broke my leg playing sports. But I found a way out. Now we've done studies on this. It's been validated. Clinical research. It's been published in medical journals. You can access it on PubMed.gov, which is the U.S. database for scientific studies, U.S. government database for scientific studies, peer-reviewed. We have a way out. You do not need to live with pain. We have a goal. Our goal is to eliminate back pain from the planet. You do the right thing, you understand what the problem is, you can get rid of it. The problem is sometimes you don't know what's causing your pain, and then you do things that make it worse. It tends to be really common. That's why they spend $100 billion on 3 joints. Okay, the disc and the 2 facet joints. $100 billion. We solve problems in the disc. When you solve problems in the disc, the pain goes away. You no longer need the opioids. There's an opioid epidemic and people are dying at an alarming rate as a result of overdose. We can solve that. You don't have to live like that. We can solve the need for surgery. 98% of all spinal surgeries as a result of what we do are not necessary. We've got a scientific study that's going to be published this year that validates that. We've had 2 that have already been published. One was a patient that had failed fusion surgery, and she tried to kill herself. We solve back pain. We can solve it. I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have archived all our videos. There's 800 videos there. I want you to like it, subscribe to it, share it, and comment on it. I want to get more active with the comments. I've been kind of busy around the clinics, but I have a little more time now. So I'm going to get more active with the comments. We have a way out. You do not need to live with it. I want you to call that number, 844-577-7329. Call us. We will help you.